welcome to Bartelle's Money Talk, your go-to podcast for financial empowerment and insight. Let's dive in.
Grace, I would like for you to explain to us what is money trauma and how do adults see that show up in their lives?
Oh, wow. Yes, that's such a great question. Thank you for asking. And thank you for
Of
having me on
course.
your show. I'm so privileged to be here with you both.
You're welcome.
Um, so, the reason that's a great question is because it's sneaky. So how
Mm,
it shows up is like overgiving. Sometimes you overspend. Like you want to go and you have a girlfriend's birthday party and you could have bought like a beautiful like scarf or a beautiful like a little thing, but then you're suddenly like you're buying everybody dinner and it's $300 later or it's $500 later. And it's like, why did I do that? Because I didn't feel enough self-worth. And it might also show up as undercharging. So that's how it's sneaky. Those little traumas, because when you don't
Mm,
feel safe in yourself, have self-worth and go, my value is great and I have a mission that I'm going to use, a devotion that I'm going to use with my money and I'm going to direct my money in a certain way. And when you don't feel value about yourself, you'll start to undercharge or you'll even undercharge. Like I have dear friends in my life right now, they're starting a new business and they're
mhm,
young entrepreneurs and they're
mhm.
like, "Oh, I'll charge $30." I was like, "No, that's what you make. You make $30 working for somebody else. If you charge the end user $30, you're not going to stay in business." Because
That's
mm,
like,
true.
like
mm,
a handyman, like, because they're going, oh, we'll just do handyman stuff. And I'm like, that's great.
Mhm.
And like, look at your average handyman cost and take a parameter. It'll be anywhere between 65 to like 95, and depending on if they have a contractor's license. And then you can go, oh, then you kind of see the marketplace for this type of service and market yourself in that price. That's a place to start. That's not a place to end because if you give extra services and your work is like you're on time, you have great service, maybe your price could be even higher because you deserve to charge more because you give a better service than your competitors and your clients are going to appreciate that. But that's because you'll have a value for yourself versus thinking, well, I just want them to like me, so I'm going to give them the lowest price. But you're not going to be in business the next day, babes. You're going to be out of business.
Well, you know what, talking about that,
mm.
what I would like to know, because you have the experience in this, can you tell us like what causes money trauma?
It's the root cause is actually from childhood. We are all
Whoa.
Oh,
programmed from childhood
Yes.
and on our experiences. So if your parents or your guardian or other people in your life are saying, oh, there's not enough. Money doesn't grow on trees. Like if you
Oh,
think back
yes.
yourself, like what were you told in your childhood home about money? And you might not have been directly told, but you saw the example. Like I saw the example of not having enough in our family and having to eat beans and rice for like months on end because that's all we could
Wow.
afford because my dad was laid off and it was during the union strike, like all that kind of stuff. The economy was crazy. Um, but that was like, it was like one of those things to understand, like, oh, well, if I had secondhand clothes and I had this and this and this, like, what does that mean and how does that relate to you? Because you're thinking, oh, I want to go and get, back in my day, it was Jordache jeans. I wanted Jordache jeans.
yeah,
We
remember
remember that.
that?
And my dad was like, no, we're going to Kmart. You're going to get a Kmart jeans for like $5.
And we all remember
Yep,
Kmart.
yep.
We do, we
Right?
do.
And
Yes.
so but like the message I got that I took away and I made meaning is that I wasn't enough for the Jordache jeans.
Oh.
Mm,
That's how that related to me. But that's my story, and that's a trauma that I had to work out. But if you look at your own traumas of like what those things meant, you can
Mm-hmm.
see how you can start to see where those layer in. There was another time in my life that I can share really quickly is that um, I was such a good little worker. I
Mm-hmm.
worked at my grandparents' restaurant, and I would make extra money. I was
Mm-hmm.
8, and I saved up $200. Back in the 70s, that was a lot of
Mm-hmm.
money, $200.
Right.
yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Yes.
That meant something. And at the time, my mom was struggling with money. My dad and mom were still together. They were struggling with money, and she had to pay for my brother's saxophone, the payments on the saxophone and the lessons. And she took the money and she was like, "You're being selfish if you don't give this to me. I'm going to pay for your brother's lessons, and I'll pay you back." She never paid me back, but that secretly unfolded into, um, again, you work for the money, you're going to give it away because you don't deserve it. And this person deserved it more. So, how's that look like in my adult business? Is taking on clients early in my life when I started 30 years ago, I would take on clients and I'd be like, "Oh, you don't have to pay me right now. I'll get it later." And I'd have like an accounts
Wow.
receivable of 50, $60,000, and yet I couldn't pay rent. I couldn't get groceries. I couldn't, you see how that trauma carried forward. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, damn, what am I doing? What am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
deserve it. Like, I deserve them to pay me. I did the work. They need to pay.
Well,
Right?
Grace, yes, we agree with
Oh,
you on
yes.
that. Thank you for sharing that. Because
Hmm.
thinking, most of the world probably has money trauma, but we've never looked at it as
Money
money
trauma.
trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for explaining it that way and breaking it down and giving us your transparent story. We
You're
appreciate that.
welcome. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
If it helps anybody, please, please, people, let me know how it helps you. And I would love to hear like other people's stories and then how
Mhm.
that they overcome them, or if they're in the middle of it and they need help to overcome them. I would love to hear
Right.
those.
Beautiful. Okay.
So audience, first of all, if you have any money traumas that you would like to share, please leave that in the comments. And we would like to welcome you to Bartelle's Money Talk. I'm Johnny.
And I am Teresa. And as you can see, we have a beautiful, transparent look business strategist with us today. So, Grace, can you introduce yourself to everybody?
Yes, thank you so much. My name is Grace Del Rey, and I have been in the business finance world for the last 30 plus years. And I have my own accounting company, and I have seen and been in the trenches working for a really long time in this industry. And I love to help my clients rise up and learn
Mhm.
how to like work with money and be with money and have an amazing, beautiful, gifted life that you're meant to
Mhm.
have.
Right. Okay.
Nice, nice. Well, that money trauma, that really was that was a real good answer, detailed answer because like you said, a lot of people probably have money trauma, don't even realize that they have it. And now that you explained it, people can look at their life and say, did I suffer with that early on and brought that forward into my adult life? So thank you for that. So another question I have, because I was looking at some of the things that you offer here. Why do high earners often struggle, mostly with debt? And they have money shame. Why is that?
Because it's funny. That's a great question because it's one of those things like you excel in school, right? Like for example, lawyers. Lawyers and doctors are a
Mhm.
great example, okay?
Mhm.
Because they
Mhm.
work so very hard to get an education, to pass the
Hmm.
bar, to pass the medical exams,
Mhm.
to be able to practice and actually practice
Mhm.
what they studied, and they spent so much money. And the banks will give them tons and tons of money. Nobody trains them how to actually like manage that money. And so they're going and they're spending the money. And because they're also high earners, money's coming in and the credit card debt is going up. And they're like, oh, I'll have money to, this is going to come in and this is going to come in, that's going to come in. But nobody's taught them strategy of like, oh, maybe we need to like plan for this. Maybe we can like offset this. Maybe, like how to actually manage it. And so they can get into a spiral or they can make some
Mhm.
bad decisions. Like one bad decision and for example, this one doctor, um, we'll call him Dr. X. He's a beautiful,
Okay.
sweet man, and he gives you a beautiful
Mhm.
smile, right? He fixes your smile.
Mhm.
He bought a business, and that business would have been amazing because dentists make a lot of really great cha-ching. They make a lot of good cheddar.
Yes.
Yes, they
Um,
do.
and this is where he made his mistake. He got into a deal with somebody. He didn't make the deal clear of like how like the person sold his business to him, and then that person decided to open another business, slightly different name, just down the block.
Oh,
Guess what happened to all his clients? Where did they go? And then he ended up in a lawsuit. The lawsuit was another, three, four, $500,000. So the man is now carrying not only the debt of buying a business, but because he made a bad business deal,
Oh,
the clients that he would have had is now going to this other person, and he has and then he spends all this money on the lawyers trying to like get the clients back, and so now you are in such a deficit that the money he was coming in, and this is that old adage, if you have $1 million and you owe 1,000,001, are you rich?
I would say
no,
not.
I would say you're not rich.
Mm-mm.
You're actually in debt.
You're really in
Mm-mm.
debt. And he was, and
Mm-hmm.
it was painful to work with him because it was like you could see how his heart was in it and he wanted to try, but it just the domino effects weren't working in his favor. So yeah, that's some trauma right there.
So, so, so hold on. Let's back up a little bit. So when he made this deal,
Yeah.
the stipulation in the agreement should have been you can't move anywhere around this area to
For
open up
50
another business.
miles. Yeah, at least
Yes.
50 miles. But he didn't. Because again, he didn't have a good lawyer. He didn't know you like in business as an entrepreneur, the fun thing about an entrepreneur, there's a lot of things you don't know until you're in it and you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
absolutely.
We know that.
We
And
know.
so, but you know what, Grace, I'm gonna just stop us right here because there may be someone that is thinking about buying a business from somebody. Based on what you've learned from this dentist, Dr. X, can you tell
Mm.
practitioners or business people some of the things they need to look out for before they buy a business from somebody else?
yes. Yes, because also you want to look at like you want to look at their business practices, you want to look at their reviews, you actually want to have a business analysis, like have a CPA actually look at the numbers because they will inflate the numbers and you want to look at their tax returns because you might be like, "Oh, I can make my P&L look beautiful, but on my balance sheet, if I owe
That's the
$1 million,
catch.
Oh,
That's the
and then
catch.
they're like, "Oh, you get to buy everything, including my debt." You have to know that. You have to know what are you buying? And
oh,
conversely, I just had a client sell their business. Unfortunately, they made a bad deal with somebody that wasn't very on up and up, and he purposely killed the clients, killed the service by not giving good service, and lost clients and blamed them, and then said, "You owe me that money back." And
What?
he didn't do what
can
he
you
What?
was.
explain that
Yeah,
one more time?
yeah,
Can you
yeah,
explain that one more time,
yeah,
please?
Yes.
yeah. Cause yeah,
Yes, do that one
yeah.
again.
Okay, so they sold this business, right? We'll say it's just for anonymity. It was a dog food business, right? Or no, a dog walking business, right?
Okay, so they sold it. Okay.
They sold their dog walking business, and that business was earning about $1 million, million and
Hmm.
million two. And then that other company that took it on, they had a transition period, about 3 months, 6 months transition, where the office person was working in their office, and then they were training them how to service their clients, and which they did. The owner of the company didn't show up to the meetings and wouldn't show up to the meetings. And he was just like, well, my staff will take care of it. The staff didn't take it. They took it in, but then they didn't take care of it,
Oh,
and then the dogs didn't get out on the time that they're supposed to, or they didn't get the appointment met, or, and then those clients that they sold are now calling the original owners back going, "Can you please take us back? Can we please come back? Are you still in the dog walking
oh,
business? This is what's happening." And they're like, We can't. We actually signed an agreement that we can't take you back. We can buy you back." And so he sold them back, the clients, some of the clients, at a premium. So
oh,
So, like this is one of those things like you don't know until you get into it. And that's where it's like some of your due diligence is actually doing a background check on the potential buyer or on the seller. On either side, doing a background check could save you a lot of headaches because you might see he or she has you could see there it's public knowledge if you had a court case in the last 10 years. You can kind of see
ah,
what's going on. You might not know the
That's
details of it,
that.
but you'll know that something happened. And it's good, and that's like good things to like start to look into is doing your due diligence about the person that you're going in business with or you're selling to so that you can be sure you can safeguard yourself from it going south.
You're listening to another episode of Bartelle's Money Talk. We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors. Take charge of your financial future with Bartelle's Financial Coaching, led by Theresa Bartelle. We offer personalized guidance to overcome debt and achieve financial peace. Our results-oriented approach provides actionable strategies for lasting change, no matter your background. We welcome you to schedule a free consultation today at 830-252-0320. Start your journey towards a brighter financial future today. Grace. Now that was powerful. I hope someone hears that is in the process of buying or selling. And I hope what you have just said will make them stop because like people get overzealous, they get so excited and they don't even ask the right questions. They just think they're going to make money.
Oh
Well,
And
yeah.
then when
yeah,
they
but,
get into it,
that's it right there to make the money part.
right, then they get into a disaster.
Yeah. Because I've gotten people like who've bought doggy franchise businesses thinking, oh, I'll buy this business, I'll go into this, this is going to be great. And then they realize it's a headache, that their net earnings is less than if they got a job working at a fast food restaurant because all the money will go to the trainers, go to the individual people
Mm,
like doing the doggy daycare, and none of it will actually like $30,000 might really more like 10,000 will get to your pocket after 6 months of work. And it's just like that you've invested 150,000 for that
Oh
painful
my,
experience.
oh my, oh my. So in reality, that person would probably feel like they're financially stuck in reality. Because if you think you're gonna make all this money and all of a sudden you don't make all this money because you're like, oh, I didn't realize how these costs tied to this. And you saying they may get $10,000 in their pocket after how many months?
Like 6 months.
mm.
And that's like, and you still have to invest the build out and all those things. And so it's like, and yeah, you can build it up, but what if you're in an area and you have to choose the right area? Because if you choose an area, like there's another guy, he had a wonderful idea for a sandwich shop, and his sandwiches were outrageous and they were delicious, right? But he put it
Mm-hmm.
downtown. He did it, this was in LA. He put it downtown LA. The sandwiches, the average price of the sandwich bought in LA in that downtown area was Subway at like $5. His sandwiches were at 15. His sandwiches were 10 times better than Subway's,
Nobody's
but
gonna buy it.
but nobody can afford it because everybody
That's
else
right.
was working at the market or the five and dime
Mm-hmm.
construction worker.
Mm.
None of them were going to spend 50, their budget was
15.
$5. So know your area. You got it. There's a reason why Starbucks are only in certain areas. They do their demographics. You have to, that's another,
Yes.
it's like if you're going to have a storefront, do your demographics. Who's buying you?
Well, now this is powerful, powerful. I have two questions for her.
Go no, go ahead. Go ahead.
So I'm gonna go back to this one. We have doctors and lawyers, right? And
Mhm.
they may be making the money, but like they don't have the income coming in. But because they have the medical degree or the law degree, they want you and I to think like they have it going on. So they're buying all these expensive cars, these expensive
Mhm.
trips.
Mhm.
Can you tell these professionals how important it is that they don't live the life that they don't have yet? They're
Yeah.
ruining themselves.
Yeah, because you end up running yourself into the problem where you just keep building your debt up because you want to look like that. You want to look the part. And I understand that
Yes.
there is some cachet in looking the part. Like for
Hmm.
example, if you have a practice in Beverly Hills, well, they're going to expect you to look Beverly Hills, and your office
Yes.
is going to look Beverly Hills to get that Beverly Hills price. But if you've got debt hanging around your neck, the thing that I think that is important to witness if you're when you think about it is that the interest that you're paying on the debt, whether it's credit card debt or a loan debt, like secure
Mhm.
debt, that money is stealing your future. The average American
Ooh.
in the middle of America, the average American
Mm-hmm.
is spending about $3,000 to $4,000 a year just in interest. That means the credit card companies are making $3,000 to $4,000 a year in that interest. But if you yourself were to take that same $3,000 to $4,000 a year and put it away in a compounding interest at like 10%, 11%, in 10 years
Mhm.
you'll have $60,000. And $3,000
Mhm.
a year isn't seems like it's not a lot when you break it down into monthly like little
Mhm.
segments. But in 10 years, it's $60,000. That's a down payment on a house. That's
Oh,
a
yes.
good start to a nice little retirement or your kid's education. And that's your future. And that's on average in middle of America. Now, if you go to doctors and lawyers and such where they've got, $50,000 in credit card debt, well, that and at 30%, that can be $12,000. That could be
Yes.
$12,000 a year that they are paying to credit cards that they will never see again. And that is their future. So they could
Wow.
have exponentially like 20, 30,000, $1 million in 10, 15 years on their investments, on a simple conservative
Mhm.
investment.
Mhm.
They didn't go overspending. So in their first few years of practice, it's really to be mindful of like, how are you spending? Do you really need that?
Another
Uh,
good thing. Yeah.
I know you got another question, so I'll let you go ahead.
Yeah. So,
I know you say you had two.
okay. So my last question is because of all of these stories that you've described, they have been pretty powerful. So, like at this point, I would like for you to tell the listeners what do you do exactly? How do you help people?
I've got so many things for you. On so many things. I've got wonderful books. Like I've got this cute little book. It's called Small
Mhm.
Steps, Big Wins. It's a daily saving wealth builder game. So in this game, and it's for 30 days, you play the game for 30 days, and you can either, and it gives you choices of where you want to invest your money, where you want to save your money. And the game is like if you decided to not go to Starbucks, right? You decide not to spend the $11 at Starbucks. You write it down and then you say, okay, I'm going to move that $11 because I would have spent it and I'm going to treat myself. I'm still going to treat myself. I'm not going to be like, oh, you can't have that. Because if you say I can't have that, it doesn't feel good and you stop the flow
Mhm.
energetically, you will stop the flow. To keep the flow going, you go, no, I'm going to treat myself. I'm putting that $11 into, move it over to my savings account. And then at the end of the day, you can circle where you're going to put the $11 towards. You can say, okay, it's going to this area. And when I have enough, I'm going to pay off this credit card or I'm going to invest in this investment so that you're directing the money that you're not spending on the doodads into where you want to spend them. And then you can actually track the results because often when we're moving money around, sometimes we get amnesia and we don't know where we spent it
Mhm.
or how did we use it or how did we direct
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
And then you're like, you feel like you got the no answer on your coffee treat, but
Mhm.
you didn't. You intentionally moved it to somewhere that you love. Another really great book that I love, it's called Aligning Hearts and Accounts, and this is for couples. It's a book so that couples can get in conversation, and there's a lot of fun exercises in here that also goes to my website where they can have online sessions in here. They're like live, they'll talk you through meditations and alignment and getting into the real talk because that's really intimate conversation about money. And a couple, as you
Mhm.
guys are a beautiful, successful couple, you know yourself, like to grow your business, you have to have these deep conversations. Like, what do we really want to do with this?
Right.
Where do we want to go?
Mm-hmm.
And the last little book that I have is Saving Grace Money Method Mindset, and it's all about like a cute little like workbook to go through and do your mindset work around money and get into like learning some affirmations, learning where your story comes from, and the last place people can find me is on my website, sgbsconsulting.com. If you go to /services dash SGBS, you'll find where you can get to the book, but also I have courses online that teach you about money mindset for 365 days. There's also Love Yourself Rich, which is all about getting out of debt cycle and getting into your abundance wealth building. So transitioning, if you are a person that's in debt cycle, how to get out of your debt cycle and get
Mhm.
into building wealth. And then the last one is leveled up business mastery. And this is a course for people who are opening a business. Either they have a business and they want to take it to the next level, or they're going into business and they want to know all the nuts and bolts about business, between who you're being, how to create your team, how to deal with your finances, how to deal with hiring, how to deal with sales. We get into all of the bases, nuts and bolts and pieces. So, and these are all online courses that people can take.
Wonderful,
Well,
wonderful. Okay, but you got to ask her that one
I
more.
do. I just got to ask you this one more because
We going over time,
I
but
know, I know, but
she got one more.
this one more, Grace, this one more. Because one of the things I alluded to when you was talking about all those different stories you had, that possibly people could feel financially stuck. So,
Mhm.
what are some of the steps or the first step somebody would need to take to kind of get financially unstuck? If they're going through being stuck in a financial
And
situation.
just get in a rut. I know you got it in your brains. You have seen a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how can people get
Yeah.
unstuck?
How can they get unstuck?
Give them one tip.
One tip.
One tip. This is the one that I used. There was a time in my life I got stuck in the beginning of my life, and it was like you get into that mental chatter, and you
Mm-hmm.
spiral like, oh my God, I'm not going to make rent. I'm not going to have any money.
Mm-hmm.
Wah, 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 wah. And you can go into a spiral of like how
Mm-hmm.
horrible. And then the more you think about that spiral, the more you're like seeing homeless people around you, and you're like, I'm going to be a homeless person. Um, and the
Yeah.
more you keep in that spiral, the more you attract negative energy towards you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and things just seem like one thing after the next to keep snowballing into effect. To stop it, I am a firm believer in affirmations. And
Yes.
ones I use all the time is money flows easily and effortlessly to me, or I'm a money magnet. If I'm really freaking out, I'll just go right, and I can hear my mind going into that chatter. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like if you're driving, I'm a money magnet, I'm a money magnet, I'm a money magnet, I'm a money magnet.
Oh,
And you're like,
yes.
your kids can be like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I am manifesting money right now. I'm a money magnet.
Yeah, affirmations work. I believe in
Yes.
affirmations.
Yes.
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 Yeah. And the fun thing about it is that because your brain can't think two things at the same time, it can only think on one thing. So if you let it spiral, you're going to go into that really horrible place. But if you keep in your gratitude and your mindset of, I'm a money magnet, clients praise and pay me, clients praise and pay me, you will see magic happen within 2 weeks. It happens over a 2 week period, sometimes quicker, depends on how open you are, and boom. So, like, if you're stuck, stop the story that's running in your head today. Just stop it. And you're like, how can I stop it? Easy. Just stop.
Yeah.
Bob Newhart does a great thing. He does a cute comedy bit where he goes, stop it. He's like, it's a 5 minute, like, $5 for 5 minutes therapy. And the person starts telling the story and he goes, stop it.
Yep. I
Mm-hmm.
remember that. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Stop it.
Okay.
Tell us
Yeah.
age. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, Grace, this has been
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Well, Grace,
Okay.
listen. Thank you for sharing all of your wonderful knowledge and experience with us. I mean, with the audience, because this has been great. Your story is definitely transparent. So we really appreciate your time and your effort. Join us today on Bartel's Money Talk. And you already gave us how we can reach you. But one last thing, who would need to find you? All this good information, that your website, your books. Who is that audience that you would need to that would like to find you? Who is that?
Anyone who is looking to have a deeper relationship with themselves and their money,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
attracting more money into their lives, and doing the
Mhm.
deeper work so that you can sustain it. Because there are too many people out there that win the lottery, that, well, not too many, but there are people that win the lottery
All
and
right.
they
Mm-hmm.
immediately lose everything. Like, you inherit money
Mm-hmm.
and immediately lose it all because
Yeah.
your self-worth is not able to sustain it because you don't believe you deserve it. It came too easy. It couldn't have been that easy, and you let it
All
go.
right. And it's
So
gone.
it's all about like, I'm worth it, I'm family's worth it, and we're going to sustain it. and we're going to look at strategies to sustain this with us. And it feels better because we can give more, right? More people that
Yes,
are
we can.
Absolutely.
and loving
Absolutely.
with
Mhm.
money, give money.
Okay, well then I would like to say, listeners, I hope that this was impactful for you. The most impactful part for me is business owners. If you're buying or selling,
Whew.
take a step back. If you need to reach out to Grace for help before you sign that dotted line, please do. It is much cheaper for you to call and ask for help than it is for you to find out that you're in a mess after you sign the dotted line. So thank you so much for joining us on Bartelle's Money Talk. And Grace, we will see you again in the future. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's all for today's episode of Bartell's Money Talk. We hope you found our discussion insightful and empowering.
If you want to stay connected and access more tips and resources, don't forget to subscribe to Bartelle's Money Talk on your preferred podcast platform.
And please consider leaving us a review. Your feedback helps us improve and reach more listeners like you.
For even more financial guidance and exclusive content, visit our website at bartellscoaching.com.
Until next time, remember, the journey to financial freedom is within reach.
I'm Theresa.
And I'm Johnny Bartelle, signing off. Take care, and here's to your financial success.